It's time to take a look at a bunch of results which are rendered void thanks to the new restriction list. Hello and welcome everyone, and also thank you for everyone that's watching this series. I realize that it's become quite an international viewership, so welcome people from all over the world that enjoy this series. We're going to be taking a look at the results of December for the majority of the competitive tournaments of, well, the last month of 2016, and these were before the February restriction list, so it's still going to have a lot of 7Cs, a lot of time leap, and all that kind of stuff. As always, we're going to begin with the Japanese results, and the first of which is going to be the Yamato VGCS, and this had a team tournament as well as a singles tournament, and we're going to start off with the singles tournament, and sadly the second place deck list is missing, but you'll find in the description a link to the finals which were filmed for the Yamato VGCS, so you can check it out and see what the second place deck is. However, the first place was a very big surprise in Blade Wings. So this is different Blade Wings than we would see in the West, because we don't have the promos of Were Tiger in English yet. So there are some cards in this deck that are only exclusive to Japan for now, but hopefully we will get them as promos pretty soon. So second place is a 7-runner deck list, but we don't have a picture, so we're gonna have to skip that. And also just gonna point out, for the record of this video, I'm gonna be using 7-runner to refer to the grade 1 7Cs deck. That's what Japan's been kind of coined the deck as, so I'm gonna go with that because it also sounds quite nice, so it's a bit easier than saying grade 1 7Cs, so just a little pointer for that. And then in third place is big surprise Time Leap, and then in fourth place is also yet another big surprise Time Leap as well. Now for the Yamato Team VGCS, we have some interesting results as well. First off, we have the first place team, and the first player ran this Asha list, so this is already after the first character booster, Try 3 Next, so it includes the new Asha there we can see, and it doesn't even run the old Asha, but we can also see just a bunch of different and new cards and a lot of interesting text, so that's very nice to see that topping. And then the second player of that team ran Time Leap, so nothing overly amazing there. And then the third player of that team ran Night Rose, so that's nicer to see than 7-runner, but it's also becoming a very dominant deck in Japan, and it's a bit more dominant than in the West because it hasn't won as much in the West as it has in Japan. For the second place team, the first player ran a Time Leap deck, as we can see here, and it has a bit of a new grade 3 tech in there that we can see, so it's at least a little bit different than usual, and it does run the GGs, which we don't see that often. Next we have the Sanctuary Guard list. It's quite blurry, well, not blurry, but there's a lot of glare, so you can't really see the cards too well, but it should be possible to make everything out. And then the third player of the second place team ran a actual 7Cs deck, so it's not 7-runner, well, it does run the 8 grade 0s, but it doesn't run that many grade 1s, which is actually quite surprising. So it actually runs a standard number of 7 grade 3s. And then the third place team, the first player ran this Time Leap list, which we've all pretty much gotten used to by now. And then the second player is once again, I believe, the same person who won the singles of Yamato VGCS. So this is the Dark Irregulars list once again, so we can see another interesting thing I forgot to point out in the first part is that we see the 4 grade 3s, but also Enigmatic Assassin is a very important card in this deck, and you'll see when you watch the finals or semifinals that I've linked how important of a card it is. And also the 1 Perfect Guard is also something that you can't help but notice, but it also makes sense because the Blade Wings are such a defensive deck, and they can recycle this Perfect Guard that actually makes, sense. And then the third player of the third place team was actually quite a nice thing to see in this Luar Diablo list. So we can see 4 grade 3 Luards and 2 Blast Dark Diablos, and then I believe the new Perfect Shields, and then 4 more Festas obviously, and then only 3 G-Guards, but they're the good G-Guards, so that makes sense. And then yeah, so this is one of the first tops for technically Luard. And then the fourth place team, the first player ran a Night Rose deck, as you can see here. Again, there's a lot of glare, so you can't really make out too many cards in this one, I'm afraid. And then the second player of the fourth place team ran this Time Leap deck. And the third player of the fourth place team ran a Chaos deck, which you don't see as much, but it's starting to bounce back, as we will see throughout these results. Next we have the Kamonohashi VGCS, and here we're also missing one piece of results. So we do have the first place, which is this Chaos deck. So once again, as I said before, Chaos is starting to bounce back, and this is pure Chaos, no Messiahs. And then the second place of that VGCS was a Night Rose list, as you can see here. And then we're missing the third place, and I don't actually know which deck it might be, but the fourth place is the most interesting, Touken Ranbu. So here you can see Touken Ranbu after the update, which we're getting in English in February. So very, very nice to see this, and generally we can see that this isn't the only top for Touken Ranbu in this month. So definitely a nice thing to see. Next we have the RIZING VGCS, and the first place of the RIZING VGCS is this Time Leap deck, and we can see it runs no GGs. It's a very standard Time Leap deck, apart from, well, the 4 10k vanillas, but that's basically to counter the grade 1 7Cs, which is the worst matchup for this deck. And then we have another very interesting deck, which is Vanquisher finally winning. So here we can see a lot of interesting things, like the backup grade 3 is the 12k, and then it also plays Martial Arts Dragon, which I wasn't too fond of, and I expressed that in the set breakdown, but Martial Arts Dragon is a very interesting choice, and there's a lot of SPs in here too, so I'm sure some people will appreciate that. But yeah, I wasn't expecting to see Vanquisher win, and this is a singles tournament, so that's even more impressive. Well, not win, but come second place, so essentially top. And then in third place, we have the very standard 7 runner list. And then in fourth place, once again, we have none other than Touken Ranbu. So we can see it's like it also runs the 2 parcours, just like the previous list did, so this might be the same player, but I'm not sure. But nevertheless, it's very interesting to see, and I'm glad, as I said before, I'm glad to see Touken Ranbu winning. Next up is the Shura VGCS, which was also a team tournament. The first player of the first place team ran the following time leap list, so it's quite similar to one of the previous ones that we looked at before because it has that other grade 3. Next we have this Link Joker list, and I believe we've seen this person's little kind of token card before, so I believe it's the same person. And then in third place we have a Night Rose list, which we're seeing quite a lot of, but it's nicer to see than Time Leap in my opinion. And then the second place first player team is yet another very interesting deck to see in this Magia deck. So this is just Harry. It doesn't have the Legion, it doesn't have Lukier, it's just straight up Harry. And actually after this deck won, the price of Mephisto in Japan actually shot up a bit, so it's very interesting to see this kind of thing happen. And we can see the Clown, which is kind of like the Broken Heart clone, is in here as well, so it's a very interesting list, and I'm happy to see this top as well. The second player of that team ran a 7-runner list, and then the third player of the second place team ran this Chaos list, so this is yet another top for Chaos. This time it includes Messiahs as well. Third place, the first player of that third place team ran this Sanctuary Guard list, and now it's a bit more visible. And then the second player of the third place team ran the 7Cs list, and I say 7Cs because it has more than 1 or 2 grade 3s. And then the third player of the third place team ran this Chaos list, once again with the 1 Alter Ego Messiah, totaling at 6 grade 3s. And then the fourth place team had their first player running this Sanctuary Guard list, and I'm quite happy to see that Erica playmat there as well. The second player of the fourth place team ran Asha, and this is a different list we see because here it has 2 of the new Ashas and 2 of the old Ashas, so this player is not going all out on the new Asha and trying to play it with the other one, so that's also nice to see. And then the third player of the fourth place team ran this 7Cs list. Again, it's a bit more standard because it has 6 grade 3s. And the final VGCS mention is the Izayoi VGCS, and the first place of that one was none other than a 7Cs, I guess, list. It only has 4 grade 3s, unless I'm blind. No, sorry, it has 5. But yeah, so a bit different, but it's still 7-runner. But that's the only piece of results that we have from that VGCS. Still continuing in Japan, we're gonna go to the WGP, which is the official tournament series, and it's a team tournament. So we have WGP Osaka, and we have some interesting results here. Only the first 2 teams, but the first player of the first place team ran this Freeze Ray Chaos Messiah list, which we've seen in the past as well, and has quite a lot of SPs and SGRs, so I'm sure people will appreciate that. The second player of the first place team ran this Time Leap list, which is pretty standard. And then the third player of the first place team ran the 7-runner list, so this one is the very standard 7-runner list with just 1 grade 3. And now the second place team is where things get a bit more interesting. So the first player of the second place team ran this Night Rose list with once again a lot of SPs, hint hint, that might be why they're winning. And then the second player of the second place team is by far the most interesting in this Brave deck. So this is it, this is the new Brave deck after the update, and it has the new Altmiles, it has the new GR twice, it has the new grade 2, actually more than just 1 new grade 2 in general. It has the new trial deck grade 1, and there's so many things. There's only 3 perfect guards as well because they bounce back, so it does make sense. But they're just so, it's just so nice to see this. It's nice to see Brave finally topping, so big congratulations to this player. And then the third player of the second place team ran this Time Leap list. A bit anticlimactic, but the second player was definitely worth talking about. And now for the WGP in Sapporo, we have the first place player in running this standard 7Cs, and this is quite standard. It runs 6 grade 3s with the Nightstorm as well. And then we have the second player running none other than Vanquisher. So we have the new VMAX in here and everything. It's very, very nice here. So it's nice to see this deck topping more than once actually. So again, with the 3 martial arts dragons, I'm not sure if this is the same player. Maybe the Japanese players could correct me on that, because I knew we have some of those viewers, so it's nice to know that. And then the third player of the first place team ran this time leap list, which is also quite standard. So there's that. And then in second place we have the first player running time leap once again, the second player running 7Cs, and this time it's a bit more standard with more grade 3s, and then the third player of the second place team running Sanctuary Guard. And finally, the WGP did conclude very recently, and we're gonna look over the top 4 teams. So the first place team, the first player ran the following time leap list, the second player of the first place team ran this Sanctuary Guard list, and the third player of the first place team ran this 7Cs list with a total of 5 grade 3s this time. In second place, the first player ran a 7Cs list with just 4 grade 3s, so I'm not sure if we classify this as 7 runner or 7Cs. The second player of the second place team ran the following time leap list, and the third player of the second place team ran the following Sanctuary Guard list with 1 MLB, so that is also nice to see. The third place first player ran this 7Cs list with 5 grade 3s in total, but with the 4 Night Runners as always. The second player of the third place team ran this Loire Diablo list, which is another top for Loire Diablo, so it's very nice to see that. And only 3 more Festas this time, and only 3 Plaza Dark Diablos this time as well. And then the third player of the third place team ran the following time leap list, so sadly again a bit anticlimactic. In fourth place, the first player ran a 7 runner list. This one is pure 7 runner. Second player ran a Chaos Messiah list, as we've seen quite a few times, and then the third player of the fourth place team is the same one who topped with the Magia list earlier, so this is pretty much the exact same Magia list as before, so it's very, very nice to see that as well. Now let's pop very quickly into Malaysia. Sadly I only have the first place result here, but the second place of this tournament was a Thavas deck, but I don't have the deck list, so maybe it can be linked. I do have the first place deck list, which is a Musketeer deck after Try 3 next, so you can see it here, it's very nice. Runs the 2 Cecilia strides, which is really important because it works with a new grade 3, and only runs 1 Vera, so in general there's a lot of interesting choices here, and I'm very happy to see this, so definitely very nice. Next up, let's quickly pop into America and the ARG series, and there was an invitational tournament in Orlando where the winner was Kevin Russell with none other than 7 runner. And in second place was the Science of Vanguard's Mason Clark with none other than Time Leap. And in third place was Sam On with once again Time Leap. And I want to give just a little honorary mention to James Zuniga, if I pronounced it correctly, and he went top 16 I believe, maybe top 8, but at least top 16 I'm pretty sure, with an Altmile deck before the actual Try 3 Next expansion, and it runs Pendragon, so this is a very interesting list, and I really wanted to point this out because this level of originality is not seen very often these days, so I really wanted to show this one off. And finally, to conclude, we have the BWC, the Bushiroad World Championship, and the results of each of the continentals in America, Europe, and Asia and Oceania. So, let's go over the Asia-Oceania results first. And in first place, we have Andy Lowe running a 7 runner list. See what I did there? So this is a fairly standard 7 runner list, nothing too amazing to see here. And then in second place is none other than Jeff himself with Time Leap once again. So we've had him before, and now he came second, so he will be attending the World Finals as well in Japan, which are happening actually as this video is uploaded. And in the third place in the Asian Continentals is Simon Zheng with Time Leap as well. Jumping over to NA, we have the Continental results. In first place is Daniel Middlesworth with Time Leap. In second place is Jihui Ouyang, if I pronounced that correctly, with also Time Leap, and none other than that. And in third place is Richard Doan himself with a Victor deck. So we've seen him before with this Victor deck, and I'm very happy to see him top again, and I believe he will be going, or well, currently is in Japan for World Finals, so I'm also wishing him the best of luck, as with all the other participants. And finally, let's go over to my continent, Europe, and here we have Christopher Nguyen, who came first with Time Leap. Big surprise there, but definitely big congratulations. And in second place is none other than my boy Liu Bo Chen, OG Chen himself, with ThinkSaver Sanctuary. So this decklist has changed since Germany. He is now playing the Sanctuary guards as well, and I am very happy. I was so happy when I found out that he made second, and he is currently in Japan for the World Championship Finals. So I'm wishing him the best of luck as well for these finals, just like any other participant. But you know, I might have just a little bit of bias because he's a good friend. And in the third place we have Ellis Reeves from England with a Time Leap deck as well. So sadly for Europe, only the top 2 go to the World Finals, so it's a bit sad that Ellis doesn't make it, but I'm happy for both Christopher and Yubo, and for Ellis is also a good achievement to be in third place. So that's actually pretty much it for this competitive wrap-up. So this was for the month of December, and we're going to be doing the ones for January at the start or towards the middle of February, and so that all the results can kind of just come in. So I preferred waiting a little bit and then doing it after a little bit of time has passed, rather than trying like now. I didn't want to squeeze in the January results because basically we're only halfway into January. So that's pretty much it for me. Thank you very much for watching, and I appreciate every single one of you that actually enjoys this series. It's fun to make and it's fun to look back on as well, and it's nice to look back at these after some time as well to see what the meta was in the past as well. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.